Hello! In this video, I'm going to tell you about some of the important things you need to know if you're using AI language tutor apps. I'm one of the founders of the language practice app Spoken. I've been working in language learning technology for more than 15 years. I have a degree in linguistics and phonetics, and I'm a qualified teacher of English as a foreign language. I started working with chatbots for language learning in 2017, and in the past couple of years I've done a huge amount of research into how the new AI language tutors are using generative AI. There are hundreds and hundreds of AI language tutor apps in the app stores, and a handful of them have become popular and successful. During my work in this area, I've uncovered several things that I think people need to be aware of if they're using these apps. Before we get into all my insider info on the world of AI language tutors, I'll take 10 seconds of your precious time to tell you about the app that I run, which is called Spoken. It's aimed at intermediate and advanced learners of English and Spanish. And the focus is on daily speaking practice, but it's not a conversational chatbot, and it doesn't rely too heavily on AI. It just uses AI for the things that AI is actually good at. You can download it from the stores if you'd like to check it out. Okay, so here are 4 important things you need to know if you're using AI language tutors. Most of these apps were not made by anyone with a background in language teaching. The vast majority of them were founded by people who had no experience in language teaching. I checked the LinkedIn profiles of the founders of some of the most successful AI language tutors, like TalkPal, Practica, and others. And none of them had any work experience or qualifications in language teaching. These are entrepreneurs and businessmen, and they are all men, who have seen an opportunity and decided to jump into that space. Maybe now they have qualified and experienced language teachers working for them, but the people running the companies don't appear to have much of this knowledge themselves. Instead, they hand over responsibility to AI to do all the teaching, but as we all know, and as we'll explore later in this video, we can't rely on AI to always provide accurate information, let alone know how to structure the process of teaching a language. It's true that maybe some of these founders had a passion for language learning after learning a language themselves as an adult, but that doesn't mean they have any experience in the methods for language learning or knowledge of the grammar of all of the languages that their apps are teaching. Even more extreme is that some of the smaller, less well-known AI language tutors are developed by people who don't even have a passion for language learning or any interest in it. Now, there's a certain type of large-scale app developer who will look for an area where there's demand by analysing the volumes of keyword searches. And then they'll buy or develop an app that provides something in that area. For example, look at this English practice app called Isla. The developer also has apps that are for calorie counting, photos, interior design, ringtones. This means they don't have any deep or specialist knowledge about the apps they're developing. If it's just a ringtone app, that probably doesn't matter. But for a language learning app to be really effective, I believe it does need some specialist knowledge or expertise behind it. Number 2, the people running these apps don't even care that much about correct language. You can tell that some of these apps don't really care about language learning because of the incorrect English and spelling mistakes that you'll find in their app store listings and ads, and even in the apps themselves. For example, this app offers to help you learn English, but has incorrect English nonsense front and center of their app store page. Learn English like chatting, by chatting. Unlock the doors to international with superior English skills. International what? If they can't even use ChatGPT to check the English on their promotional material, then what hope is there that they can build a reliable app to help other people learn English? And it's not just the less well-known apps that are guilty of this. The bigger ones that you might have heard of and maybe even paid for do it too. Look at the horrible English in this ad from Makes You Fluent, which has been spending a lot of money on advertising recently. Say goodbye to fear of speaking new language. A new language. And what's that random capital N doing on new? Here's some more incorrect English I found in Elsa and Practica. I actually have a page where you can see more examples like this from other apps. The link is in the description. Number 3, the content in the apps may not be correct. Some AI language tutor apps try to go beyond just offering general chat in a foreign language, and they try to provide some teaching or advice as well. Now, because the app isn't made by people who have knowledge of a language or experience of how to teach, they completely hand over the teaching to the AI. Now, although AI has some general knowledge about facts and information, it doesn't yet possess the skill of teaching. Let's look at some examples. Firstly, an example from TalkPal, where the AI provides some completely incorrect information about English grammar. In this advice email, it told me to work on using articles correctly and gave this as an example. Now, articles are the words a and the, so this mistake is not a mistake with articles. It also told me to be mindful of prepositions and gave this as an example mistake. Now, this is a correction where it told me to use believe instead of think, even though think is fine. But anyway, that has nothing to do with prepositions. So here it's just like layering bad advice on top of other bad advice. Relying on AI to provide the language teaching content in your app is one thing, but then not even testing the end result is just lazy. I honestly think I've tested TalkPal's AI feedback more rigorously than anyone who works at TalkPal. People like to criticize Duolingo, but at least they have experts who actually speak the language who create the content for the app. And so do apps like Busuu and Babbel. Here's another example from a newer app that I discovered the developer posting about on Reddit. The developer claimed he had carefully designed the system with proper context and constraints to ensure reliable grammar explanations. Now, I tried a couple of the lessons and found things that were confusing or inaccurate in both of them. For example, I chose a lesson about double object pronouns in Spanish, and it started by giving me this question. Now, firstly, a language lesson should never start with a test question before the grammar point has even been taught. But even worse, the question itself was incorrect and therefore impossible to answer. It asked me to complete the sentence with pronouns, but put the gap for the pronouns in the wrong place. I tried to answer and of course couldn't because the question itself is wrong. I went through a whole series of coaching messages from the AI before it finally contradicted itself and told me the correct answer was something completely different to where the gap was in the original question. And finally, number 4, when AI corrects language that you speak or write into the app, it's not totally accurate. I've saved this one until last, not because it's the least important, but because I've already mentioned it in a few of my other videos, and I don't want to bore anyone too much if you're a regular viewer. So one thing that AI language tutors do is correct your mistakes. Now, because this is a feature that we use in Spoken, the app that I run, I've done a lot of in-depth research into how well it does this. And I've discovered that AI only corrects correctly about 90% of the time. Sometimes it misses mistakes, and sometimes it corrects things that are not wrong. If you're interested in learning more about the details of this, watch my other video that I'll link here. For spoken, we've experimented a lot with different prompts, probably more so than any other apps have. And we still can't stop the AI from occasionally correcting inaccurately. We do include a warning in spoken to explain this, but a lot of other apps don't mention any type of warning. They let their users believe that the AI is totally reliable, which I think is dishonest, and it kind of indicates that they don't truly care about their users' ability to learn from the app. So that's it. If you're using an AI language tutor, don't trust everything it tells you, and don't assume it's been developed by someone who knows anything about language teaching. I think the best way to use an AI language tutor is simply for conversation practice, to help you think on your feet and vocalize your thoughts out loud in the language, which is extremely valuable. For the actual knowledge and teaching part, use a real human teacher or a properly structured course like Busuu or Pimsleur. And if you want to practice English or Spanish and you're intermediate level or above, try spoken, which might be the most trustworthy option available.